What's up, everybody? Welcome to Wednesday.
What up?
As usual, we're gonna jump into our Monday no-gi footage from the open mat. So let's get started. What up?
What's happening?
Get my video player going. Dude, in about 2 minutes, I think, this mat gets absolutely slammed. Like, so many people stuck around for the first roll. At least for the first roll. What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Oh yeah, awesome. Dude, yeah, Monday was packed.
Yeah. And we got Austin and Jordan, Justin and Caleb, Brandon and Steven and Pat and Cole. And I get started with somebody behind the pillar. Oh, Zach. What's going on, twins?
What's up, boys?
Steven with a little Kosoto Gari. And we are, this was our first open mat in side control week. So we'll be on the lookout for side control techniques, north-south, maybe a little neon belly. Which Steven is wasting no time working. Steven going right to a pretty simple Americana, kind of 101 side control technique on Brandon here. It looks like Brandon's not being too active as far as like getting out of the pin, which I'd like to see a bit more action from him. But one thing he's doing well is keeping his frames in. He's kind of, I can't remember if he had to re-win that inside position against Steven with his arms, or if he was able to retain that the whole way through. There, Steven does a good job shutting down his ability to turn towards the submission to relieve any of that stress.
Yeah, one thing that we're always looking to do is get to his side rather than being flat on our backs. And you can see how Steven was able to take advantage of that with Brandon staying flat on his shoulders.
Yeah. And Brandon's left his head there a little too low. Steven was taking advantage of it, laying on some pressure. But that's, I mean, let's look at that for a second. So even as Brandon comes out of this front headlock position, catch the right time. I mean, like, look at Brandon's posture here. It's a little too curved over. You know, he's looking towards the ground. This makes it, what's up, Deathcore? How you doing, man? This makes it really easy for Steven to continually break that posture back down, reestablish that front headlock position. Brandon's just kind of giving that away right now. So we really want to pay attention to our posture against a standing opponent. That's why we don't look down, we don't bend forward, we lower our hips with like a little bit of a level change if we want to bring our head down at all.
Yeah, what I would say, like, one thing that's very, I think, relevant to that part is if you watch Gavin and Braden at the bottom of the screen, right? Like the activity that they have going on with the hand fighting, you know, not allowing each other to establish grips for a very long time. Like it's very active up top. And that's where you're going to, and then, you know, obviously one will get the advantage and then, you know, you go in and hit your offense, right? But here, if you look at what, you know, Steven is strictly on the offensive in the in that battle with Brandon there. So Brandon just, I think, needs to be a little bit more active, stripping the grips, respecting the grips, trying to set up angles and things on his own as well.
And Josh with Austin here. Let's see how they got there real quick. So Josh is working his standing guard break. Austin opts to go for the double ankle sweep and try to beat the knees. Looks like he doesn't get past it. Josh squeezes his knees together and is starting to go in on this leg attack. He's got that straight ankle grip that you prefer to use, rather than just jumping right to a heel hook position. Deep on a reap. I hope Austin's knee isn't, I think Austin's controlling that knee pressure pretty well. And yeah, the reason that didn't work, Josh, is you can watch Austin right here. It's hard to see your feet, but Austin has taken your left foot off of his hip, allowing him to kind of circle around and relieve a lot of that pressure. His hips are free right now, so you don't have any real pressure on the leg. And then it looked like that finish came from straight ankle lock. Pretty heavy reap over the knee. Now what did Steven do? Oh, Kimura. Cool. So let's see how we got. Looks like he finished it from half guard. So
yeah,
got the takedown, stayed in half guard the whole time. But at some point here, I think he flattens Brandon back out. Just about gets the leg free. Let's see. So this little, I wanted to see if you did it, Steven, but like right here, your elbow is up behind his shoulder, which I'm not going to say is bad or wrong. You seem to put enough pressure on. I don't know how tight this was for Brandon, but you know how much I love to see right. Oops. Try to catch a good frame to point it out. Sliding your elbow that's behind his shoulder, sliding it down to his elbow. So making that shift from up here down as close to his elbow as you can to work that pulling finish. You may have been able to finish it a little bit earlier. Again, you got the tap, so that's great. But keep that in mind next time you're on this Kimura, especially if you can't seem to get out of half guard for whatever reason. Other options there would be to switch to like a one-handed grip with your, in that case, with your left arm, and then use your free hand, or your right hand, which becomes free. Use that to try to pressure on his knees to get your knee free, get your ankle free, and then you can transition from there up to like a full finish on the Kimura. Cole putting some punishment on Pat.
Braden and Gavin are in 50-50. Probably behind me.
Yes. Oh. Block you for a second. Don't worry, Kurt's blocking it too, kind of. I don't know where to look. This is what I was saying, dude. Everybody on the mats on this first round.
Yeah, Josh wound up getting to the back of Austin and getting the strangle. That was good.
Huh. I didn't see when that happened. So for the takedown, Austin takes a shot.
Yep.
Looked like just a feint. You're not going to want to hang out on your knees too long, especially under a guy that much heavier than you, Austin. Just be careful with that. And you got to be mobile when you take those feints. Josh doing a good job driving the knee in towards the hip, like I talk about a lot. Gets on the back. Stripping the grips. Oh, good. It was behind the pillar, so we couldn't see the full development of that grip exchange, but that was a solid looking finish. And then Cole had, he was on his way to a mounted triangle here for a second. So I think he had, it looks like, he didn't have any of the arms above the head. Like, you definitely want to, use everything we've talked about Cole with getting your underhooks, and getting one of his elbows above his shoulder line. Got to look for that before you start playing around with like mounted triangle positions, just because you're not going to be very fruitful when Pat has both of his arms to block you. I'll skip ahead a little bit.
Caleb hit a nice Maki Komi or the Fat Man roll on Justin up at the top. He's been really favoring that.
Yeah, they're super effective for him. The bind he gets on your arm from his overhook is, whether you're standing or fighting against him in turtle, it's pretty difficult to slip out of.
Yep.
Got some of the twins getting after it now. Braden on a quick rear naked. Yeah, I agree, Justin. So one thing I'm seeing Austin get caught up with here, especially like in the last roll and this roll with Josh so far, is Josh is doing a good job either keeping Austin on his butt, or Austin isn't making enough of an effort to stand up when he's in these foot locks. Like right here, Josh isn't going to give that leg back. So like you really want to focus on, like Austin's done a good job getting his hips free throughout this. Like we saw him earlier, pushing Josh's foot off of the hip, and then heisting his hip over the foot. Like with that freedom of that hip movement, a good thing to think about next is standing up, getting that foot flat, putting some weight on it so that he can either, turn your knee very easily to get heel exposure, or bend your foot and straighten it out to get the straight ankle lock. But if he keeps you broken down like this, and you guys are rolling, roll if he has a heel hook on you. But if he has that straight ankle lock on you and you do that same roll and he just stops at a belly down straight ankle lock, you're really going to regret that you did that.
Steven at the top, like me and Steven are training at the top. He comes so close to catching me in a knee bar.
Did it already happen?
Yeah, it already happened.
Okay.
It was like the most unorthodox knee bar I think I've ever felt, but it came on fast and tight.
Whoa, interesting. Let's zoom in on that.
Go ahead.
I wasn't expecting it to be on the bottom leg.
I wasn't either. Clearly, I was trying to throw my left leg over top and come into essentially if you were to drop into an outside heel hook from a standing opponent.
Yeah.
And he just completely attacks my bottom leg. And we wind up, I had to turn fast.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so
he in really, it's not a reek, but he comes in super hot, and he's starting to push against his right thigh.
Mm-hmm.
You see that forearm frame he has against my leg?
Yep.
And he's pushing against it, and he goes in and he shores it up with his left hand.
Yeah, he started to go for the double, that I guess kind of a double pushing grip.
Yep.
And I feel like right here, had he continued to roll through, he may have been able to get his hips right on top of your knee.
Maybe, yeah.
But then as soon as, here's the cool thing though, as soon as you turn your knee out of it and get safe, you're in a very exposed inside heel hook position.
Yes.
Which I know you don't feel too terribly threatened about most times, but that was just like, which he immediately knew and started to go for it. But
yep,
that was a good little dual threat there. Did he get the tap on it?
I wound up catching his inside, so I wound up catching the inside heel hook. See how I'm fishing for his thigh?
Yeah.
So as soon as I feel like my knee is clear, I'm gonna start going on my attack, so he can't attack my legs.
Yeah.
So now my right hand comes in, and he wound up tapping early.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that must be his bad ankle. That was cool.
I'd never felt one like that before. Like, it was just a completely different angle than I was expecting.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Pat threw up the triangle on Mitchell. You just know when you're caught. That's smart. I'm still figuring that out, Steven.
It's a good skill. Let's go back a little further. So Pat catches Mitchell with both arms on in front of Pat. For all intents and purposes, the arms are on the same side of Pat's body. It's another way to think about that. He's got that back exposure, even if it doesn't look like it. I think Mitchell realizes it a little too late, goes to pull his arm free, and Pat sneaks his leg up over the arm as Mitchell pulls his arm back to what he thinks would be a safer spot until Pat beats him to that. Making little adjustments, and then finishing with the armbar.
Nice. Braden trying to get to the double Kouchi. Oh, nice.
And Justin also working some X guard. Look at that in a second. That was pretty slick.
That was a really nice entrance.
Let's see. Make sure I'm not in the way. So what's cool about this is as he goes for the double Kouchi, and then I'm just gonna guess, we'll say Eric, I think, is standing now in a staggered stance relative to Braden. And instead of going again for the double Kouchi, which you can't do against a staggered stance, I think he starts to think about it here and then thinks better of it. Switches in to this inside grip, like this kind of inside scoop grip. This is almost like this would be like a reverse Imanari entrance. Imanari uses Imanari uses the straight arm, but just the head's not on the inside. He's not going for like an inside position here. He's going for outside. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, that's fine. But I feel like everybody has seen an Imanari roll. The only way this is slightly different is Braden's head is on the outside of Eric's legs here. So if it was on the inside, he could maybe spin around into an inside heel hook position or cross side ashi.
And you get to this position too if somebody's breaking your guard in a standing guard break from closed guard. That it's the same position as when we drive our inside leg, knee down to the floor, and then give that big sweeping hook step around the outside. It's the same position.
Yeah. And I just want to look back at Justin and Brandon here. So Justin with that knee grip, and then it looks like Brandon kind of lost his balance there before Justin could like bump him forward or backwards. I think he had enough.
I think Justin extended his legs out to where Brandon was kind of in a split almost.
Yeah, he had enough tension on the legs where Brandon was just going backwards before he could like fix it and get his base back. Damn, Josh is in a leg grabbing kind of mood.
He really is. It's good.
Just be careful with that since you're still a white belt. Don't go ripping on them. And if you feel like I'm calling you out, I'm calling you out. But yeah, the only bad thing that's going to come of this is Austin is going to get even more practice in shutting down our leg attacks, which is annoying enough. Austin does have nice legs for attacking.
Did Justin get the Kimura? I know he was fishing for the Kimura.
Looks like
I think yeah, he did.
Yeah. From side control.
Mm-hmm.
Down, legs and back. Legs and back.
Good combination.
Yeah, when done well, those transitions look amazing. Not that you didn't do them well, Josh. I'm not saying that.
But looking very comfortable there. I think that's.
Justin's in on a Darce now. I expected you to try to take the back, Justin, from that. You were working like a front headlock. I thought you were like.
Oh yeah.
Like blocking. I thought you were gonna block there, and go around, but I really like your. It looks like you made it a point to shift your head, like we always talk about, towards the side where you're sinking into Darce. So towards your right, Brandon's left. Your ear is on his like left shoulder blade, which is gonna give you the reach you need to get that bicep deep grip. Bringing your hand right up the back, taking your time with it. And then it looked like you mercifully let up on it. I wonder, did you not have that grip, or were you just like, yeah, I got it, we'll move on?
You got that Kimura again.
Poor Brandon. That's like the third Kimura of the night for him. You can't Darce, we'll fix that. Everything about that looked good in the lead up.
Nice. That was a good takedown.
Yeah, he was thinking the right thing about it. I thought the other twin was gonna go roll with Caleb. Talk about a size discrepancy.
Yeah, instead Austin goes with him. Not a size discrepancy at all.
Yeah, no, they're about the same size. I think the difference in size between them is one me.
Yeah.
So Eric immediately on his arm bars like he loves.
That was a nice sweep by Josh. Was that a double overs or was that an over under? I think it was double overs. I couldn't see what he had on the left.
It looks like a double over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, working that double overhook grip, butterfly sweep that Cole loves to do.
Mm-hmm.
At some point on a roll, or just a transition goes from omoplata to a knee bar. Oh, with Braden? Is that you up here, Steven? By the TV?
Yeah.
So here's the omoplata. Nice. Damn, that was good. can't. So there was a day. I want to say it was the last, maybe one of the last times we did leg locks, like during our rotation. But I think I talked about that. It was either during class or it was during an open mat chat session, where I talked about the omoplata being used as a good leg entrance, because like, you know, there are guys who have built systems around that and like it works really well for them. I think like Carlson Gracie is like the imminent omoplata guy, you know. But like anytime you use it and you can't like sit up quick enough to like grab their hips to like prevent the roll, things like that, your arms are right there by their legs. So it's such an easy transition to attack the omoplata but then enter into the legs. That was a great example of it. I'll go back to, I think while I was talking, Eric hit another armbar on me that was like actually really, really tight. So I start turning away, I start bugging the feet, and like he started breaking so quickly that even Kurt was like, that looks pretty bad. And I'm like, yeah, that was good. Braden Diggs. Yeah, hell yeah, man. Steven will be another solid training partner for those two.
Yep.
Yeah, Justin had nice words about about the pace of Braden and Gavin's rolls as well. Just the relentlessness with their attacks. So Caleb trying to hit the shoulder crunch just a little too low on that arm. Like attacking down by the elbow, it makes you think if he's going for like the straight arm bar or like you know, the whatever you want to call it, straight arm lock, inverted arm lock, Urigatami. Mm-hmm. You think let me attack the elbow. Problem with that is you set that up at the point where you're like, you've set the fulcrum in place on the joint, but you haven't controlled the arm enough yet. So it'd be better to reach up a little higher, and then as he either tries to limp arm out, extract his arm, or you slide down the body by like adjusting your posture, that's where you're going to get your forearm to the right spot at the right time for the break. And if it doesn't work, you can transition to, you know, back up the arm into a shoulder crunch, possibly. You're in half guard right now, so that's not going to be like the best position to work a shoulder crunch.
Yeah, I agree, Justin. Like it is very intentional. They don't telegraph what they're going for, right? But they flow into the positions very, very well, smooth.
And Gavin just had a good armbar on Joe, I'm gonna say. So I'm to the TV there. So I'd like to see Gavin, if you can, like when you're going for this armbar, so you're going from mount, which is fine. That's a perfectly good position to go from. I want to see you cut this corner around the arm a little bit more. So rather than just kicking the leg up here, see how you're still, like you're not behind the elbow yet. So I want you to think about rotating around that arm. I feel like you know this. I feel like you've probably done this move on me before, but like that right leg of yours needs to step over, all the way over the head, all the way over Joe's head, and you're going to rotate your body around his arm. Super simple. Looked like you got pretty excited on the isolation of the arm there, and just try to send it a little too prematurely. And then once you get down here, it looks like you start to make a good adjustment. You just, you know, if you take the extra half second before your back hits the mat to get your hips where you want them, you won't have to make that adjustment. Just keep that in mind. Braden thrashing Steven around with an armbar. What is that? Okay, so he steps over, hits the roll. Steven rolls with it. Got it.
Nice.
I think, okay, Gavin, right here, just something to add into your mounts. So since we're working from side control, I'm gonna probably highlight this a bit more through the week. Right now, you're attacking Joe with an Americana. Really good. You'll probably get a lot of kids your age at competition with those. You know, you'll be able to pin them. Some bigger opponents, obviously not going to go against people Joe's size, but other opponents may be able to turn towards that and shut that down. If you're not pinning his left arm, his free arm here, with your shin, it makes it easy for him to turn. So if you really want the Americana, use a shin pin, like you know, crucifix position from side control. Otherwise, if you're going to go for the Americana, remember what you have here. The wrist control is great, but really your left arm has an underhook on his right arm. So when your opponent goes to straighten his arm out of this, that's fine. Maybe you didn't even want the Americana to begin with. What you really wanted was the underhook so that you could keep his arm elevated up over his head as you transition into mount. So when you find that Americanas are failing as a submission attempt, they still have a very good use, and it's to get underhooks from side control, which makes transitioning to mount and controlling in mount so much easier. So get your Americana, go for it, but start to think about it as a tool for positional advancement, not just for submission. So right here, as you step over, so you kind of like, you say, well, I don't have an Americana now, so I'm going to take my arms out and you know, proceed from there. Again, better hip position on the armbar. But yeah, keep that in mind. Play around with that. Let me know what you think. Try to see if anybody else works that same approach to transitioning to mount. Nice grip breaking from Pat here on the the armbar. So this is good stuff. This is from side control. Moves to north-south, takes a page out of your book here.
Yep.
By digging under that arm. It goes to a dorsal Kimura position first. But Brandon's wise to it and connects his arms. So he says, all right, I'll spin around. Try to get my grip break. That's what I wanted to see, get that leg out of there. He leans in a good direction to disrupt that disrupt the break, taking it over the head. I like that, like wrist to wrist. He's not grabbing the wrist, he's wrist to wrist on that grip break. It's a lot of good tension on the arms. Kids taking on Big Cole. I think I spent most of this round just trying to get out of half guard against Pat.
That's 99% of mine and Pat's rolls as well.
And then yeah, I believe he sweeps me towards the end.
So you're hitting the back step, but So I've fallen into this as well. His the crossing of his legs is like prohibitive to the the cross ashi entrance.
Yeah, he's just like hamstring curling his heels to his butt as hard as he could, and I couldn't get enough of what I wanted out of it, so stepped back over. I back stepped.
Cole's doing the hitchhiker escape, kind of showing the gap here.
Yeah, giving somebody your leg, I would say, is wrong. But you didn't give it, so.
Let's see how Josh handles the top position of Caleb here, which is miserable.
Good job trying to get the knee in. Thought he about had it. One little tweak here, Josh, is when you're trying to put that knee under somebody, your foot looks like you're there for a split second, but like your foot needs to be higher than your knee. And you're still kind of flat on your back here, which, you know, is maybe no fault of your own considering who's on top of you. But keep that in mind. Try to get the foot above your knee as you try to bring it in underneath your opponent. Otherwise, you're basically just bumping your knee into their ribs. And since we can't strike in the sport, it's not a good strategy. Caleb doing a good job peeling his foot free.
I really like what Caleb just did.
Yeah.
So one of the things that that you tend to struggle with, right, as you either get with really strong opponents or even very technical people who can kind of free their arms when you're trying to isolate limbs above the head. Or above the shoulders, right? Is, you know, like, okay, well, I've captured it, but then I keep losing the elbow. Watch what Caleb does with his underhooking his right arm. So as he starts coming up the body, he actually digs even deeper with his right arm across the face and captures the armpit of Josh. And then from here, it's a simple push for him to use his bicep to drive across, reinforce with the hand, and then get his head up underneath the shoulder of Josh here. And I think it probably put enough pressure on Josh to get to the Katagatame right there. I mean, again, it's nice to have big shoulders, but one of the downfalls of having big shoulders is that head and arm chokes hit you a little bit harder and faster.
Yeah, Caleb and I were talking about that grip yesterday, actually. Using the crossface and grabbing to the tricep like he did. He told me that Bertram was advising him to do that. Yep. I also like the opposite grip, using in this case, Caleb using his left arm, going underneath with his underhook far to the trap. To the other side of Caleb's neck. So it's another good usable grip. Like, you can use both grips there. You just have to reach really deep and then capture on the other side. I think I favor using my underhook more, because if I do this grip that Caleb's doing here, I feel like the second I go to move this arm, I don't have enough influence over Josh's extended arm that, like, I don't have enough influence with this hand to keep that arm from coming back down. Yeah. Whereas if I switch and I use my underhooking arm, I can grab the neck, and then I can rely on that one arm because I've got my arm, my body like completely behind his arm. So it's going to be a lot harder for Josh to pull his arm down against my arm than it is to pull down against my hand.
Yep.
But if you're going to do it this way, Caleb did really well to make a very quick switch right there and then getting the head in. Like, you can't linger on that transition.
Yep. Yeah, there's different, like, the one that you're talking about going under the underhook and then going to the far trap, that sets you up for more back takes and then the mounted armbar and triangle, right, setups. Whereas the one that he's going for here sets you up for the katagatame in that transition.
Quick knee cut pass from Caleb. Did you finish something there? Oh, I guess just an Americana.
Just lock or Americana. It looks like you passed the guard.
Briefly. Yeah, what happened there? Trying to find the exact spot. Okay, so I had...
So you're trying to go to the weak side, it looks like. You're trying to drive your knee to the right.
Every time I start to kind of kip up, he would just readjust. That's where it was. I think I just caught a good time where his legs came open during an adjustment, like right here.
Yep.
And then as he starts to try to capture that leg...
Yep. He tried to switch hips and grab your other leg.
Yeah.
And you just kept riding up the body.
Yeah, and you could tell how as soon as Pat starts to attack my leg, there are two things I'm thinking. One, I need to get his hand or his frame off of my knee. That's what's going to help him capture I guess quarter guard or 3/4 mount. Second, I could disrupt his hand, great, but I could take it a step further and use that as an opportunity to get my underhook. Anytime someone's pushing on your knee, right here, there's a little tiny space for you to thread your arm into to establish an underhook and start working to that strong mount position with the elbows over the head. So we start getting into a little pummel battle here as a result of that. So as soon as he gets the hand to the knee, I'm trying to get it off. He's doing a great job moving his hips around. I just kind of body surf around to that side. I think he recaptures here in a second, though.
Can we go back to where you were digging for the underhook? Because you use a grip here to strip. I mean, he pummels, out of it. But you see how Matt has used an inside bicep tie? So at this point, he tried, like right before this happened, he tried to go underneath the elbow, and Pat was like laying really hard underneath, and Matt wasn't able to establish an underhook there. So what he does was he keeps the hand on his own bicep, and so Matt keeps the hand on his bicep or on his shoulder, and then he fishes in and just grabs an inside bicep tie on Pat's right arm. And now from here, in the world where they're still fighting for it, all Matt has to do is flare out his left elbow in order to start bringing the arm above the head, and then he can start pummeling in for his underhook with a huge gap underneath the armpit, right? And Pat does a good job here of constantly switching and trying to get Matt off balance. But I just wanted to call that out because that's a unique grip that you don't really see used. I don't really see it being used in our gym very much, I would say.
Definitely in stand-up, I think you come across it more.
Yep.
When someone has a collar tied to you, you go to that inside bicep tie, or we emphasize it at the closed guard standing break. But yeah, as a way to flare arms out to win an underhook, while we're in side control week, use it there when you're fighting in side control and you're trying to get an underhook on the far side arm if you're in top side control. But he has a frame in, you can try to set up a bicep tie, flare your elbow out, pummel back under, use that to establish your underhook.
Yeah, people who are aware of the underhook battle always keep their elbows tight to their side, and if they can, get their elbow down to the mat, right? So the underhook is going to be very difficult for you to get. But when they do that, you always have the inside bicep tie.
I just want to see how Josh got to where he got. So they start up. Damn, Josh just kind of like flew past his guard here. Kind of a quick knee cut that Caleb couldn't stay in front of. Josh works to get behind.
Turtle. So, and Josh, I know you had mentioned competing, but that wouldn't have scored any points, even though you had gone past his guard. The fact that that Caleb turtled up doesn't grant you the points for a guard pass. Now this gives you 4 points for a back take. Or Naga would be 2 points. Yeah, that's what I like to see.
Good.
The muffler.
Quick to get up. What's going on, Pinball? How you doing, man?
What's up?
So for our takedown yesterday, when I was teaching class, I made everybody go over the Tsubami Geishi that that Pinball named for us.
Nice.
Like, yeah. It's like I've been doing this lately, and I just got the name for it. I told everybody, like, I don't think anybody in the class, I don't know if they saw that stream or not, so I got them caught up, and you were a part of our curriculum yesterday, Pinball. Rush brought the heat on this roll.
Rush has really been bringing it. I mean, not that he doesn't always, but I felt him turn it up.
Dude, he and I, when we drill, like in advanced class, and we're going around in the circle, and I end up partnered up with him, it's friendly, but it just turns into like we just go 100%. We're like, screw it, whatever. We'll just work 100% for passes or whatever the case is. We got Joe and Andrew up at the top.
That's me and Andrew. Joe's in the corner on the top, right?
Yeah, Rush's guard has been very difficult to pass the past week or two.
With the ever-present get up and wrestle up that he does is
yes,
it's tough to get a good passing strategy going with him.
Yeah,
because you can't like reset. If you reset, he's just gonna snag your leg and hit some sort of takedown on you.
Yes, as soon as you sit back, like take your butt towards your heels, he takes advantage of it. Should probably start practicing some tight passing against him, if that's the case.
That's the biggest way that I've been effective.
Yeah. What happened with you and Andrew?
North-south choke.
North-south.
I actually had the arm in on this one, so I actually had his left arm trapped, but I was able to sink low enough and get his chin up high. So I felt good about. I mean, it's very low energy for me to put that strangle on.
Yeah.
I was trying to hit a Sumigashi on him, like pull him down into the guillotine and flip him up and over. And he was not having it. He based out so well at the right time.
Yeah.
I told him he just deflated my ego. Is what I told him. Damn. I don't know if you'll be able to see the angle, but this is I wound up doing the straight arm
Okay.
on Andrew here. And you'll notice that what I'm doing is I set it up by starting up, very, very high on the shoulder. I'm trying to make it miserable on the shoulder to start with. And then if I am able to hike my right leg up and over to clamp around his back, kind of like in a pseudo clamp guard style, then I will start to apply the armbar pressure, which is going to be keeping it nice and tight, hugging my ear to my shoulder, and then sliding down the arm to try and find the elbow. Trying to find the elbow, and then doing a crunch to try and get the break on the elbow.
Yeah, so Caleb, you should have done that earlier.
Yep.
Yeah, Rush is I just saw your comment, Andrew. His ability to stand up from like being completely flattened out is really, really good. Like he creates enough space, and then his I don't know, it's a testament to the how effective the technical stand-up can be, or just how useful it is. Not even as a self-defense thing or whatever, how it's often billed. It's just a good technique on its own.
I mean, it really does. It opens up the flaws in open guard, right? Like you play an open guard, or whatever, and we often try and be all loosey-goosey and stuff when we're trying to pass it, and some people that shit don't work.
Yeah. So quick.
So Andrew, your shots were solid. Like you were coming in very heavy. I want to see the level change. Okay, so one thing that's going to be a critique here is that you'll notice you're I would call this more of a tackle than a shot, right?
Yeah.
Why am I saying that? Because there's really no level change, right? You're literally just taking your head and trying to shoot down into my hips. What I want to see out of a shot is you do a great job of slinging my arms up and catching me up like this, right? Like you had my lower body. But now you need to drop your level and drop your lead knee down to the mat. Preferably in between my legs. That level change will give you full access to my hips, and for one, it'll catch me with my weight back a little bit more. Okay. Now, the other thing is that as you're starting to follow up, you're following me in a straight line. And since my hips are already starting to come back and you're driving me in a straight line, I can just continue to put downward pressure on you with my chest. So, in the event that you shoot and someone inevitably sprawls on you, we're going to be starting to look for angles, right? So in this case, you're going to be probably going around my left side to your right side with that strong overhook that you have on my left leg, and it's trying to come around the side of my body and get perpendicular in order to start attacking that leg and cutting a really solid angle. So I don't know if that's anything else from you, Matt, on that. But
no,
level change and angles.
Yeah, they're all fair points. I much prefer working from angles than I do working a blast double, that's kind of what this is akin to. Andrew, go if you want, look up Jordan Burroughs. Go to like YouTube and search Jordan Burroughs blast double, and you'll see what a double leg, from a shot up the middle can look like. It's a thing of beauty, but it is very explosive, very energy intensive, and you also often the reason I don't like him is you're heading face first into somebody's midsection. If they sprawl or if they just like stonewall you, I just feel like I'm crunching my neck back. Like it's just way too much pressure on my neck. So that's why I opt to try to work angles if I'm going to take shots on singles or doubles. So yeah, everything Mike is saying, I agree with. You can work on blast doubles if you want. I'm not going to say it's a bad technique and that you shouldn't do them. But it's just there's some technique in there too that you got to worry about. The level change is probably the most important. Reason being, if you get far enough under Mike's hips, when he goes to sprawl, like right here, he can get far enough back to where you're now going to wear his weight and get your arms extended. But if you level change, make that connection behind the knees, and your arms are tight and not extended, it's going to be so much harder for him to sprawl. And when he does, he breaks his own connection with the ground, and you can move him much more easily backwards or to the side or whatever. So it has to be executed right. Unfortunately, it can't just be like a lineman driving into another lineman or something like that. Have to be sharp in the double. Yeah, 100%. It's probably a big reason why you don't see too many high-level jiu-jitsu guys wrestling, because it's a whole skill set in and of itself. Not discouraging you from studying it, of course, but you just gotta pay attention to the details. The same way we pay attention to finishing mechanics on submissions, that wrestlers don't care about. They focus on some details in their style of takedowns that, unfortunately, jiu-jitsu hasn't cared about. But that's starting to change. So,
Braden throwing up that armbar.
Yeah, from the back escape. So into close guard. And the reason that worked is, I'm going to guess Kale on this one. Got caught doing the standing guard break, but not standing to an upright posture. So Braden gets a 2-on-1 grip here, manages to catch Kale's posture broken down, and now he could start to work a closed guard offensive move. And a great one at that. That was really solid. Looks like Kale got his elbow out though.
Yep.
Able to get safe. Transitioning. Nasty. Give the man a chance. Let him get out of there. No, that was really good submissions to string together.
Yeah,
Steven,
that was sick.
Pants down, fail triangle. Don't fail on a triangle with your pants down, Steven. Where are you guys?
Oh, right in the back right.
Yeah.
Joe cartwheels. That's Joe, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's why we don't cartwheel pass. Oh, wait a minute. So was it earlier? Are you I know the... Wait, what happened? Oh, here we go. So Joe and Steven. I hope I didn't... I might have...
You cut it out?
I cut it out. It happened during a transition. But I could explain what happened. So Joe's got his left arm over Steven's head. He's not cross facing him, but he's over his head and then to the underhook on the far shoulder, kind of like a power half grip, but the elbow is like over the side of the face, not the forearm
Mhm.
on the backside. And then he's not doing it now, but we talked about it later, driving this knee in the same way we drive the knee in towards the hips when we try to take the back.
Yeah.
He should be driving the knee in underneath Steven, above Steven's other shoulder, his left shoulder in this case. And then he steps over with his right leg and then does that shoulder drop triangle entrance. Yeah, that you would have gotten some bonus points for a Peruvian here. But he hits to the shoulder drop, and then Steven rolls to his, actually I don't know which way they rolled here, but ideally Steven would roll or Joe would pull him over. They would fall to the right. That would let Joe sneak his leg over, and he could set up a rear triangle. So it was a really slick little rear triangle entrance against a turtle position. We talked about it at the end of class. I was bummed I didn't even see that when I was splicing the video together, even though it failed. Whatever. Steven's triangle didn't fail. You almost went out. Lovely. I don't think we've had anybody go out on camera. So I'd like to keep it that way. Just since we mentioned angles, simple little shot I take on Braden here. Going on my approach, bug the head, little feint, get my single leg on the outside, and pull myself around to that was more of a sweep single position to get 90 degrees against him, as opposed to being sprawled on and staying in front of him. Now I capture the leg, stepping over, use my head to take him back. What happened with you and Caleb? Oh, you guys
Just
clashed.
Yeah, we got too close to everybody.
Dude, there's Jordan's here, Brandon up top. There have been people on that side of the mat that we haven't seen at all so far. That's how packed this open mat was.
There's a deep armbar. Pat on Jordan.
Set up from the trap triangle. Nice little angle cut there, stepping off the hip.
Very nice.
And Braden, I hope you could see it now. So I was talking to him here where I'd moved up to Kesa. Talked about getting his left leg over top of my left leg to get that initial hook in, and then I often like to just give up my right arm in this case. If I'm in Braden's position, I would give up my right arm for people to attack, whatever, an Americana, as long as they don't take my arm down between their legs. When they grip my arm, I slip my head out and I'm on the back.
Yep.
So always happy to be put in Kesa so I can get behind people like that.
So I tell Caleb the secret of building hip height and head height, and then he uses it against me. The hell, I'm gonna stop giving him tips.
Yeah, we could.
So
ban
normally,
him.
What's that?
So we could ban him from Twitch, so he can't watch anymore.
But yeah, he does a really good job this role of always making sure that his hips and head are higher than mine. We went over this after class one day. I think it was it was Sunday. It was the day before this. And I was just standing up to get out of trouble. And he asked me, he was asking me why I was doing it, and it was because he couldn't do anything to me from the back.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was asking how to counter it, I told him he just needs to stand up. Like, he needs to beat me to the stand up.
Right.
If he beats me to the stand up, then I can't stand up past him, right? Like, he'll always be able to put me down.
Yeah, and he's doing that a lot this round.
Yeah.
Now, let's see if I can find a good example of it. I would say that the danger here, if I was him, I wouldn't get too far over top of you.
Yeah.
Depending on what kind of grip you have on his arm, it could make for a pretty stupid looking counter.
Like
yeah, you know, you're in a Seonagi basically. So
I was trying my damnedest to find openings because I saw him making a little bit of missteps there, but
yeah,
it just wasn't enough for me to be able to counter it directly.
Yeah, and if you guys, you know, were in the gi right now, he could immediately just be transitioning to. Again, he has to be concerned about grips, but he could really start bugging your neck much more effectively too, rather than just gripping on and trying to keep you down on the mat. Let's see Braden's grip here as he goes around. So I tried. I didn't have my leg across for the Haragoshi. I don't know if I had. I had a leg in for the Uchimata, but I think, maybe I just didn't like try to send it too much. I was curious if he had that tricep grip that Pinball pointed out to us 2 weeks ago. Good power half. Spinning around on the knee bar. How did you sweep Caleb? He got on your back.
Yeah, so remember what we were talking about earlier about getting to that armpit position, like that armpit grip, that tricep grip, in order to isolate that arm.
Mm-hmm.
He was really digging hard on that arm, and I was pummeling it was my right arm actually that I was pummeling out with. And as soon as I slipped the grip, I turtled up and then just got up to my knees. And then he tries to stay on my back, but I block his left arm with an overhook. So I take the strangle, I eat the strangle, so to speak, right? So as I come up, he sinks in a strangle. I take it and I'm going to overhook it and send it in, to my neck, in hopes that I can trap it. And now that I've trapped his arm, I can start driving my body into him and rotating him into guard.
Yeah, you could see this arm sneak by right across his chest.
Yep.
Right here. And then you're out.
And then I'm done.
And then just pummel over the face on the shoulder crunch.
Yep. That's when I started talking shit.
You're really laying on the anaconda on him now.
I am.
Oh,
it's
man.
It's so hard to get him into it.
Yeah, well, I think Caleb's ability to move his hips has drastically improved. Like right here, this is super great. Like you got the leg blocking the arm and everything. But Caleb's ability to, it's like he's a gator with his tail, like right here, just uses the pendulum of his legs, gets his knees to the ground. It's like, all right, well, I tried.
Yep. I
That's a
told
good
him
roll.
the bell saved his life. I was gonna take his leg.
And I barely even got to rest, and then Gavin's like, "I'll beat you up."
On
Using the takedown of the night, that super low single with the knee pressure. Gets behind me, drives the knee in just like we talked about. Sagging really heavy and then switching, when that doesn't work, switching to the power half. And then Eric and Kale killing each other too. And yeah, I'll point out here, Gavin's doing a great job with the hand fighting battle. Starts looking to take my arm down below my pec line, gets it there, traps it, and then now he's stripping that top grip. He's trying to set his strangle arm in, but I'm preventing it with my secondary arm, the one that's, you know, same side as his strangle arm, and he's trying to strip the grip with his free hand. By the end of it, he didn't even need to, and he snuck in the hand behind my neck. So really good grip fight. Try to rush and snap him. That was also some really good pressure from him here with this underhook battle we get into. I'm fighting from half guard. He's pummeling back in on the underhook really, really well, not letting me win that battle, not settling for a whizzer. And then with that underhook, since he's won it, he's pressuring in me really aggressively and not letting me get to a position where I could push back from my knees to try to like hit a knee tap double or anything like that. I can't even really establish a connection with his near side leg where I like to step over with my knee and gather that leg up. And just a lot of downward pressure, shucks my arm off of him, and then gets to the back take. What I love about this, and if Kale and Eric, if you guys see this, notice that Gavin didn't, like, he has a grip around my torso, but he's not immediately going for the strangle.
Right.
He opts to switch sides here, which is fine, but he takes time establishing that leg position, driving the knee in before he starts worrying about locking up, or not locking up, but setting in a strangle arm with no hooks. That's why you guys are going to keep getting tossed when that happens. So then, once he knows that he can get that hook in, that's when he'll start to try to break me down and establish the rear naked.
Looks like he's setting up the armbar. Nice.
Come on, Kurt. Move your butt.
Much better angle on this one,
Yeah.
Gavin. I think, wasn't it Gavin that did it last time too?
Yeah.
On Joe, I believe.
So this will be a cool thing for you to try, Gavin. If you get to this belly down armbar position, so like I roll with you here because I wanted you to be able to work it and transition through the angle. But a lot of guys, no one's just gonna voluntarily roll. I want you to think about using one arm to keep. So you would use your left arm to keep my arm here, and you would use your right arm to try to reach over my hips or reach to my feet and pull me towards you. When you can reach over my hips, you can start to roll me over and force me into a roll instead of hoping that I roll with you, right? Because not going to do it all the time. I can show you that at class. It's a little easier to demonstrate than it is to talk through. Again, I lose the underhook battle. It came out on top. Look at Eric and Kale are in this mutual head scissor position.
Yep.
And Kurt was pointing it out to me. He's like, they end up here so often, and like neither one of them can tap the other, but they just stalemate each other there.
He's just gonna pass out.
It was a good entrance into inside Ashi from Gavin, and he opts to break me down towards the heel hook side, taking my knee across my body, or pointing it across my body and exposing the heel. If he went the other way, as we've seen recently, he would most likely end up in a sweep and then can attack from there. So it's, do you want to sweep him, or do you want to work from a backside heel hook position? And then we just work on tightening up the mechanics here. I'm going to skip ahead because it's getting pretty late. Who's Steven rolling with? Was that Steven over there? Or whoever, who is this?
I thought Steven was rolling with Cole. Oh,
That's
no, that
Steven and Andrew.
And Andrew, okay. And who's Cole rolling with? Joe? I can't keep track of everybody tonight. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Baseball bat.
Yeah, I forgot about this. So a no-gi baseball bat choke. I wish I could see the grip a little bit better. I'm not even gonna try to explain that. If y'all want to figure out how to do it, go look it up. I don't think I've ever hit one of those in no-gi, nor do I care to try. Oh, it was Cole and Joe. Yeah, the downside of Cole learning more leg lock stuff is he's simultaneously learning defense.
Yeah.
Leg lock defense, which for some of us was our ace up our sleeve against him. For when I get tired of trying to strangle him or armbar him, I'm like, all right, I'll just try to get to his legs. And now that's gonna get harder. Gavin with an Upa on me. Working from side control, knee on belly. So Gavin, it looks like you're really gravitating, at least right now, to those spin around arm bars, which is fine. I just want to tighten up. I want you to be able to control your way through those, as opposed to jumping to them or spinning too quickly through them. You're gonna frustrate yourself with how many of those you'll lose in those quick transitions, but you can do them slowly and very effectively if you control it. Steven trying to wrist snap me. I appreciate, Steven, that you aren't sitting to guard quite as much lately. Just did like a 1080.
You're trying to get the angle to where you can hit the outside trip.
Yeah. I didn't want him to get this double so bad, but he made
I love how he grabbed that ankle.
Yeah,
That was slick.
Let's see if we can catch the... So driving through on that double,
And then watch the left hand.
yeah, I'm trying to like break his grip and everything, but I never got the left hand off of me, and then or his right hand off of me, and then his left hand sneaks back in, really low on the leg, and I just couldn't recover from that.
That was sick. That was a really nice double.
Did a double on Mike and lifted him.
Yeah, he totally did. He totally lifted me up. Like, no joke.
It's awesome. Yeah, that pole has been the bane of this Twitch stream.
Dude.
We've missed so many good clips from behind the pole. That's like verbatim what you said, Steven. Whoa, look at Braden working the kipping escape. You see that?
Nice.
Really good.
Very nice.
What I really like about that is, so kipping's not going to work on an upright opponent, but you knee bump him there, yeah, and get his weight on his hands, which that's going to be when those kipping escapes, especially an overhead kip like this one, is going to be most effective. That's killer. And you're, next for that, Braden, you can escape with it like you just did, where you got out of the position and then stood up. Your next advancement from there is going to be pulling a knee in and working to a leg lock position. Yeah, 100%, man. That's kind of so when
What's up, James?
Yeah, when ADCC rolled around and everybody was talking about like how much wrestling would play into it, and we sat there and watched 10, 20, 40-minute matches, whatever. I think I said to you, Mike, hold on, I just want to look at that Uchimata on Steven. Not the prettiest one. I just kind of hooked the leg and get it, but not worth replaying. I think I said to you, like, in regards to the wrestling stuff, the big theme here is that all the jiu-jitsu guys who are talking about working on their wrestling still just are not wrestlers. And
no, they're not.
And it's not going to translate well, because like if you try to make yourself out to be, Jordan Burroughs or Jaden Cox or David Taylor, these guys with like this crazy intensity that we see on the world stage, they only have to do it for a very short period of time. Whereas, under ADCC rule sets, you're just like, that doesn't work for you. It's going to be, I think, a few well set up, high percentage moves, rather than like some of the really beautiful but very frenetic chain wrestling that we see from like Olympic, world champion wrestlers. It's like all those things, just like judo has to be adapted for jiu-jitsu, Greco-Roman wrestling, freestyle wrestling, all those more stand-up intensive martial arts have to be adapted for the sport. So Steven got to work hard through that double and got it, but now he's got, let's just say 5 more minutes of uninterrupted match time to go. Wrestling has a break, after 3 minutes. So it's something to consider. You better have a hell of a gas tank if you want to just like spam double legs on your opponent.
Caleb had a really nice outside heel hook on Rush, and he went to the reverse rear naked choke grip. I was showing him how to tighten this up before. So he was saying basically like he had gotten into this it was a really nice entry, right? He took him over. He goes in, throws in his reaping leg. Now he has what I'll call a butterfly grip. Okay, even though his hands are switched and stuff, he has what I'll call a butterfly grip, which is going to be forearm to forearm. Some people can even wrap their elbow to like hand to elbow. Here, the reverse rear naked choke grip is his right hand is going through with his wrist and catching the heel with his right hand instead of his with his left hand, his left hand is coming through and catching the heel rather than his right hand in a standard outside heel hook. Now, what he was saying was that Rush didn't even know that he was in trouble here, right? He didn't have any pressure on the knee.
Yeah.
And so the way to tighten it up, because inherently it's not a tight grip until you take the rear naked choke from here up to your head.
Yeah.
So if Caleb were to take his right hand and touch his ear, keeping everything else the same, left hand to the right bicep and then right hand to the ear, it gets exponentially tighter as you start bringing your hand to your ear.
Yeah.
And then from there, Rush would probably have felt it and would have gotten the tap right away. Instead, Caleb has to give a little bit of a rotational finish here in order to get to the tap, which was kind of risky, right? If Rush would have really rolled to get to initiate the roll, he may have gotten out.
1 minute first round, 2 minutes second and third. Yeah, like that's one thing I really do like about wrestling is that rule set strongly encourages action.
Yep.
You know, I think the thing that people gripe about with jiu-jitsu, especially like a casual viewer, you know, maybe someone who watches MMA but is tuning into UFC Fight Pass tomorrow for the match with Gordon Ryan now against Nicky Rod, not against Vinny Magalhaes. You know, someone who tunes in and watches that knowing nothing about jiu-jitsu, and they see people sitting down and you know, butt scooting's always the meme, but you know, these matches that are a bit more deliberate and cerebral and not quite as frantic as a wrestling match, they're like, what do I care? The sport's not exciting at all. Obviously, they don't see the nuance and the beauty that we all get to see here on this Twitch stream. But wrestling is exciting. You know what I was thinking too? Everybody, or well, let's not say everybody. Let's say wrestlers love to make fun of jiu-jitsu for like sitting, and like even MMA people will, you know, they'll be like, when are you ever going to sit in a fight? MMA people, I get it, like you're not going to do that, but wrestlers who make fun of our sport, they literally turn their bellies to the mat and flatten out. And to me, that's the wrestling version of the sitting and butt scooting in jiu-jitsu. Yeah, it's like, when are you ever going to do that in a fight and be like, haha, you can't beat me now, and then you just eat a couple shots to the ear?
It's like with Greco-Roman, when they start out in that they don't do referee's position like you do in freestyle, but they start out where one is on top of the other, you know, like basically like
the gut wrench kind of position
setup. Yep. But then the person who's on bottom, they always just belly down, you know, like flatten out and go super wide, and then that gut wrench comes in, to where they can lift and body slam. Yeah.
For the uninitiated, go look at Alexander Karelin, the Russian Experiment, and you'll watch him pick up
that dude's a monster.
Huge people and just toss them around like they weigh nothing. Yeah, but we beat him, Rulon Gardner, on a very hotly debated technicality in the Olympics. Yeah, that was back in the glory days of Russian doping, before they got caught.
Officially.
Damn, Caleb in almost to a heel hook. He was, man. I love watching old clips of his matches. Like, just not even to like, you know, peek at his technique or anything, because like so much of Greco, a lot of Greco doesn't immediately translate to jiu-jitsu. Certainly not like the ground stuff, but just watching, even though he was like juiced to the gills, like there's something about watching a human, right? Another person who is the same species as me, pulling off the things that he pulled off. You watch him like warming up, just like picking up 70-pound kettlebells like in each hand, just like getting loose, you know? It's ridiculous. We got Braden and Cole. Then I think it's Pat and Rush over here on the side.
Yep. Joe and Andrew. I don't know if you said that.
No. Joe on the leg entrance. And he about had the heel hook there. I think if Joe
Yep.
if Joe wanted it, that was his for the take, and he may have just been letting Andrew turn without the risk of any injury.
Now he's on.
You do a cross, or not a cross, actually, an outside. I'm gonna say that was maybe a straight ankle. Yeah, his hand was a little low on the straight ankle, but. Yeah, because he just Andrew like just about bounces my face off the mat every time he collar ties me.
Yep.
Well, not even collar tie. Every time he snaps me down. But.
Yep.
No, that's good, Joe.
Yep, that's the right thing to do.
That's honestly exactly what it looked like. The heel hook was right there, and you just didn't like grab it and send it. So.
Thanks, boys. See you Saturday.
Take it easy, guys. Then we have Steven and Cole to round it out. Let's skip ahead to some action. All right, so Steven not wanting to get into a rear triangle like he almost did earlier here.
In the close guard.
Roddy Ferguson. I can't say that I have. I know, I forgot the gentleman's name. Really huge, like a great big dude. Black guy, I think for France. I've seen his stuff, some of his stuff. I don't know if that's the same guy or not. I'll have to look up Roddy. Teddy Reiner, yeah. He was, I saw that he got, I don't know if it was recent or maybe it was just, maybe someone was talking about it, but like a match where he got beat by a smaller dude. The guy was like over the moon when he I don't know if he e-ponned him or if he won by a different method, but yes, that's the match I'm thinking of. I saw the I watched that match. That was pretty remarkable.
Let me check this dude out.
Cole staying really heavy here. Gonna have to hit like a forward shift to deal with that top pressure, Steven. But not a bad idea to get back to close guard. Check it out tonight. What was that? Just about. So from double overhooks here, maybe? Single overhook. Cole's losing his base.
I'm curious as to why Cole was taking his right leg under like that. Or trying to switch.
I wonder if he kind of just got caught slipping.
Yep.
Steven,
yeah, I put it in YouTube pinball and that came up. I'm gonna watch it later.
Steven, I would take your time here, since you've got this underhook and Cole's posture broken down. Set up your shoulder crunch. Like, I wouldn't worry if you get that wrist behind his back. Great, like that's, you could probably really disrupt him there. But you had this underhook for a good bit of time. And you had that butterfly hook in with your right leg. So like all you were missing for this sweep is full control over his shoulder. Take your time on that shoulder crunch and get that set up. And then as you elevate him with that butterfly, you can use you'll probably have to use it with Cole. You can use your left leg to like push the top of his quad back and just completely open up the base on his right side. go. Nasty little crossface with the shin. Good work from Cole there. I like that he took, like, leading with his head down to the mat.
Steven getting his head through the hole and getting safe.
I wonder if Cole was being nice there. I think it looked like Cole got a little freaked out. This was Kimura City as Steven came up here. If Cole pointed his knees down, you know, or intended to point his knees down to the mat, I think he could have easily finished a Kimura. But it looked like he loosened up there.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's being a touch nice.
And then you go and heel hook him. That was a good setup though. You just kind of sneak your knee up the middle in his open guard and sat right back for it. Where's it at? Right here. Nice.
There it is.
Oh, you guys are just talking about it. All right. Good stuff. Really getting tired of how many of you are staying after class and rolling. It's so difficult to watch. We need some students to quit. So try to hurt each other a lot more. Let's injure each other. Get more people off the mats. And that way I don't have to stay up until 9:40. Kidding, of course. He's back with control. Yeah, I think I've seen you do that a couple times recently on stream. It's a solid entrance when people get lazy in an open guard and they're supine. No reason to not try it. Thank you guys, as always.
Yeah, thank you.
Really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. Always appreciate the feedback you give us. It means a lot to us. Definitely more than anything, that encourages us to keep going. So we really appreciate the support, guys. James, hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're enjoying your trip.
Yes.
As always, follow us here if you're lurking. Subscribe here if you can. You can support us at coffee.com/MOBJJ. And please go on over to YouTube and subscribe there as well. Really helps us out a lot. We'll post this up there the next day or so. And we'll keep on keeping on at class this week with side control for the remainder of this week and then into next week as well. January 14th, Naga. January 28th or something, New Breed and Concord as well. So if you guys are interested, January could be a busy month for you guys to get some really good competition experience, as well as see where any holes are in your game, if they're there at all. So yeah, think about that. Sign up. I know a lot of you guys are interested in Naga. Keep New Breed in mind as well. 2 different rule sets, so we'll have to go over that with you guys. But in any case,
let us or another coach know if you want to compete. Just keep us posted and make sure that you attend Saturday competition classes in that event.
Yes, absolutely. In the meantime, go trim your nails, file them afterwards, and do your laundry, and don't be stinky. And we will see you guys at class. Take it easy.
Later.